Welcome to Macrocode. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. So on today's video, we are going to continue with our Blazor series. So as you can see on our app, we have academics module, we have a library module, settings, and administration module. So for those who are watching, so we are on day 21 of our video. So you can actually consider watching our previous videos. So you can actually consider watching some of our previous videos so that you're able to understand where we are. So we have the students, we can actually add students. We have parents, we can add parents. Then we have teachers, we can add teachers. Then subjects, we can also add subjects. And we have a library where we can add books. So I think there is something that we added. Then we have countries, and we have under system administration, we have system users. So you can see the system users who are actually able to log into the application. And also we have system codes and the system code details. So another type of settings that I want us to do today is how we will be able to manage grades. So what I want us to do is to add one of the models. So I'll just come to our models. Then I want us to add a model called grades. You can call grades. So on these grades, we'll be able to define grades and the marks. So I'll just do grade. Then on this grade, I want us to have, so here we can do public int ID. Then I'll just do, so one is the grade code. So this will be string. Then I want also to have a grade point. Can have after the grade code, we can have a grade name. Then after the grade, then we can have the mark. So for the mark, these will be ints. So you can say mark from. So this is where we'll be defining whether if you have an A, so where does the mark begin? So then we have the mark 2. So this is the range. So we are defining the range of our grading system. So then after the grading system, I want us to have kind of some notes. So we'll just have here notes. Then all these details, I want us to inherit from our user modify activity, because we'll actually be checking all the details of, so the created by and the modified by, in case something happens to our grades, so we are able to track the activities. So after doing that, I want us to come to our application DB context. So our application DB context, then we can add our table. So I'll just do public DB set. Then I'll have my table there, which is actually grades. So that will be my table name. Then I'll do get set. So that will actually define our table. Then get set. There we go. So after doing that, the next thing that you need to do is to actually apply migration. So I'll just go tools, new get package manager console. Then here I'll now apply my migrations. So I'll say add migration. Then I'll do grades. So that is the name of my migration. Then I'll need to stop debugging. Then if I do that, my migration should be able to so there we go. So as it starts, let's see. So our migration file has been generated, and you can see we are able to have our grades table being created with all these fields. So the next thing is to actually apply that migrations to our database. So I'll just do update database. Then once our database is updated, we should be able to have those tables. So if everything goes well, then our table will be created, you can see. So after we are done, the next thing is I want us to now create the Razor components for adding grades. So I'll come to my pages, then add a folder. So under this folder, I'll say grades. Then I'll add a razor component. Then this razor component, I'll call it grades, add grade, or grades list. So that is where we'll need to first display the list of grades. So for the grades list, I'll pick one of the options from the countries, and we reuse them. So after I've copied that, so I'm going to have here, so I'll say this is a grades list. Then here will be grades list, then add new grade. So this is where we'll be adding grades. Then at the bottom here, we'll define our grade collection. So these will be all grades. Then this will be our grade. So after doing that, on initialization, then we need to load all the grades. So I'll say this is all grades. Then I'm going to apply it here. Then after that, all our grades, after we load, we need to do this. So, but for now, I want us to comment this, then I'll show you how we'll come back to this. So after we've comment that, so let's comment that. Then on this list of grades, I want us now to loop on our table and display them. So here I'll just say all grades. So if we don't have anything, then you can say loading grades. Then here we'll display the grades. Then here we can have the grade code. Yeah, we can have the grade name. We can have the mark from. So we can have the mark from. Then you can have the mark to. You can have the mark to. Then we can have that. Then here we'll showcase. Here we can have the all grades. Then this is ID. Then you can say this is grade code. Then you can have grade name. Then here we will do our mark from, and we can do now mark to. So there we are. So the next thing is to now we can do grade. So when you click edit, it will open grade, then edit. Then we pass here, we can say this is a grade. You can use that to avoid confusion because we've just copied this code. So I'll just replace that and have a grade, as you can see. So then this will be grade. So after we have done with that, we now have our list of grades. So this is our list of grades. But I want us, before even going anywhere further, I want us to go to our repository and to create a repository for grades. So I'll just do an interface. So I'll just do an interface, then call it iGrade repository. Then if I add that interface, I'm going to copy one of our repository. For example, we can copy for department. So I'll just copy this methods. Then I'll come to my grades. Then I can have it here. Then I'll now replace this with grades. Then I'll do that. So grade. Then after that, I'm going to create my service to implement that interface. So I'll just copy this name. Then on my service, I'll create a class. Then I'll call it a grade repository. So I'll call it that way. Then this grade repository is actually implementing iGrade repository. So after that, I'll copy the department methods that we have here, because it actually, so that we don't waste time. Then I'll go to my grade repository. and actually paste all the code here, then just alter some few items. So I'll change my constructor name. Then on the add async, I'm passing now grade. Then I'll also do the same here. Then these should be grades. Then on a delete as well, I'm doing grade. Then this is grades. Then this is a first or default async. Then on the this should be data. So just do data. Then this is data. So this should be data. Then you can also do your grades. Then this is data. And we can now return also data. So the next thing is to pass here grade as well, or when we want to get the list of grades. So I'll just do grades. Then get by an ID, I'll also pass a grade. This is grades. There we go. When you want to update, we'll also pass our model of grade, and we expect to return a list. We expect to update a grade details. So after we have done with this, so we now have our service and our interface, and everything looks okay. So let's go to our program.cs. Then we need to register that. So just copy that, and we now define our I repository here, I grade repository. Then our service will be grade repository. So I'll just copy this, and we can do that. So after we are done with that, I'll go to my inputs, and here, then I'll just now import my service. So I'll just import my service here. Then I'll use I grade repository. Then I'll say this is a grades service. So after we've defined this grade service, that means we can go to our grades list and now activate what we had commented, this one. So if we do this, we uncomment this line of code. Then we now use our grade service to get all the data, and we can say this is data. This is data. Then we now add the list that we get here. We add it to all the grades, which is a collection of all the grades list. So after we have done with that, we now have our list of grades. But how do we add the grades to our application? So we need to add another Razor component to actually cater for adding new grades to the system. So we'll say add new grade. So if I do that, I'm going to borrow one for academics Razor component. Then I'm going to use it under grades. Then here I'm going to just indicate add new grades. So we'll be adding new grades. Then just before doing anything, we need to define our grade object here. So I'll just do grade. Then this will be grade object. So after doing that, I want us to use this grade object. Before even that, you can say this is create a grade. So this will be our create grade, and we'll define our own validate method. Then anything within this form should now reference our grade object. Then the form name, we can say grade details. Then the first thing to add is, so we'll define now here, we say the first thing to add will be our grade code. Grade code, then this is a grade code. Then here you can say grade code. So after doing that, we can replace the name here with the grade code. Then the next thing is the grade name. So here we'll do grade name. Then here we'll do grade name, and here is grade. So grade name, This is the object. Then here we'll do grade name. So this name should be similar to this. Then the next thing is the mark from, and this is actually input number. This is input string text, then that is text as well. So input number, we are talking on mark from, then this is a mark from, this is also mark from. Then after that, we need to define this is a mark from. So this is mark from. Then we can do away with that. So I'm going to define mark to. So I think we have notes there. So I'm going to define another one, mark to. Then here we'll have now mark to. Then this should be mark 2 and this is mark 2. Then the notes, we now change these to be grade object, and I believe this is notes, yes. So once we have that, then we say save a grade. Then we should be able to save the grade. So on hitting on create grade, it will now come here, and our object now will have the values. So we are now passing the created on and the created by values for the person who is logged in and the date the record was created. Then we pass now that to our service, which is the grade service add async. So grade service add async. Then once it is added, it will take us back to the grades. So the grades is our navigation link. If you come to our list, at the top here, we define that to navigate to that page, you actually use this route, grades a list. So that is what we will use. And after that, what we need to do is we need to define here, this should be add grade. So after we add grade, we need to come back to our list where we have the add button. We ensure that this is referencing our add grade link. So that is how you do that. But now after adding the grade, what happens? You should actually update. So I'm going to create another Razor component for updating. So I'll just say update grades, update grade. So then when I press enter, I'm going to copy the same thing for academic and paste here. But now what I'll do on my form, I'm going to minimize and remove it, then go back to my add form. I'm going to minimize and copy it, then come to edit and replace it there. So then I'll change my, so this will be update grade. Then I'll change my object here to look the same way we had done for addition. So I'll say grade. Then the only thing that happens now is here we need to load a grade. Before you edit, you need to get the grade values. So I'll just load on initialization. Then our grade object should have values. So it will take the grade service and get by an ID. So this is a grade service. Then we get by an ID, and this ID is this one. It's actually a parameter. For you to navigate to this page, you have to pass this parameter. Then our object now, after updating, you should now update using the modified by, the person who modified, and the person who, and the time. Then we'll use our grade service to pass the new values and the updated timestamp. Then we navigate back to our list. So that is how we do that. So the next thing is to, here we'll say update grade. So this will be our method. So this will be update grade details. So after doing that, I'll go back now to my on validate, then update that. Then on the grade object, it is using the grade object. So at the top here on the navigation, we need to define the URL. So this will be grade, then edit, then we pass the ID. So this is a parameter. So this grade edit, when you come to our list where we were indicating edit button, we should now use the grade, then edit, then we pass the grade ID, which defines the same parameter we have done here. So after that, at the title, we say update grade details. Then I think we should be okay now to launch our app. But before launching our app, we've defined all this, but we have not added it to our navigation menu. So to add it to our navigation menu, remember, we go back to our components, then layout, then nav menu. Then we are going to have these on our system settings. So on our system settings, after the country, just before the countries, I'm going to add another thing called grades. And for you to navigate, we navigate to grades list. There we go. So I'm going to launch this app. Then we're now able to see what we have done. So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing, like our video, comment down below. And if you are willing, you can actually buy me coffee, a hot one. I will really appreciate. So let's launch our app and see. So for those who are coming back, welcome. And for the new subscribers, please subscribe. We notice almost 90% of you guys are watching our videos and you don't subscribe. Please subscribe so that you also help us reach more people. So I'm going to log into my app. Then I'll just do that. So if I click login, it takes me to the dashboard. Let me just confirm my password so that we are able to log in. There we go. So we have now the dashboard. So under system settings, you'll see we have now the grades. So if I click grades, you'll see it is actually loading grades. So we don't have any grade yet. But for us to add the grade, you see at the top there, we have the add grade link. So to add a grade, you'll just click add a grade. Then you'll be prompted with the grade code, the grade name, the mark from, and mark to, and the description. So this is where we are going to manage our grades. So the first thing we can say, our grade code, we can say A+. You can say this is A+. Where is my plus? A+. So that is our first grade code. Our name should be, we can say A+. Then mark from, we can say for you to get a marks for you to get an A+, you must have scored 80 up to 100. Then you can say not very, you can say excellent. So if we do that and click save, you see there's something that has happened. So it has actually taken us back to the list, but we are not sure whether our details has been added. So what we need to confirm is when we go back to our grade service where we actually add here. So if we try to add another grade, we say A now, but we say now we want to add A. We say this is A stand. Then we say the mark is from 70 to 79. Then you say this is very good. So if we click save, there we go. So we have our model. So you'll see we have the created by, the created on, grade code, grade name. So we missed something. We missed our grade point. So on our grade point, we need to have added that field. So we'll go back to our page, add page. Then we need to define our grade point. So that is the field that was missing and it's not nullable. So that's why we were not able to add the details. So I'll just come before the grade, after the grade name, and I'm going to have the grade point. So here we'll say grade point. So this is a grade point. Then here will be grade point. So after we have the grade point, then we can actually copy this and do the same thing to our edit page. So on our edit page, we also expect the grade point, and we can also add it to our list to display the list of points. So here we can say we want to see the grade. So I'll just do that. Then here I can say grade. So here I'll copy that here. Then I'll want to have a grade point. So I'll define that to point. So after that, I'll now add the values now here and say grade point. So after doing that, I launch my app. Then we should now be able to save grades, edit grades, and preview the list of grades that we have within our application. So if you found this video very interesting, comment down below, like the video. And if you really like the video, you can even go forward and buy me coffee. I'll also appreciate if you buy a hot one. So let's just log into the app and see what happens. So if we just log in, so I'll just key in my credentials, then log in. So after logging in, we can now go to settings, then grades, then add a new grade. You see now our grade point is here. So I'll just add A+. We say that is A+. For the grade points, I'll say this is 5.00. Then I'll say this is 80 to 100. Then you say that is someone who is very, so you say that is excellent. So then I save. So if we come back to our breakpoint, you will see that now the grade point has a value. So I'll do that and proceed. Then if we go back, you'll see that our values has been added. So I can add another one for A, that is A stand. Grade point, you can say this is 4.00, starting from 70 to 79. Then this is very good. Then if I save, then we are able to see that. I can also add another one. We say A minus. So I can say this is A minus. Then this is the points are 3. We can say 3.50. Then this is A minus can start from 60. Then you say to 69. Then you can say this is good. So if I save that, we're able to see. Then I can also add a B. So you can say a B plus. So you can say a B plus. Then we'll say this is B plus. Points will be 3.00. Then here our B plus will start from, let's say 50 or 65. We say 55 to 69. 59 I mean. So this will be 59. Then you can say here it's also good. So if we save that, you see, you can also have another grade. We say B. So we say B stand. Don't know if that is the correct naming. So then here we'll say 2.80. Then these will start from 50 to 54. Then this is, you can say good. So that is how you now have our grades. So grades is part of our system, and we have defined this because we will be going now to actually see how we append and have a grading system to students and doing everything. So the next thing that I want us to do is we'll be able to now try to create kind of exam schedules. So, but for today, that was what we meant to do. So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing, like the video, and see you in our next video. Bye.